Am I the a-hole for not letting my stepmother meet my daughter? Myself, 33, female, and my husband, 38, have a 3-month-old daughter. My stepmother is strictly prohibited from approaching me and my baby, and consequently my father refuses to see his granddaughter without his wife. For context, my stepmother had a clandestine termination in her youth, and had severe complications which left her infertile. When she married my father, she immediately came to see me and my siblings as her children, being very pushy and invasive, and wanting to outdo our mother, who is alive and present in our lives. Even when we were kids, the situation made us uncomfortable, and her obsession with motherhood and being our only mother scared us and drove us away completely. My father, wanting her to be happy, started trying to force us to call her mommy. But eventually our mom got our custody and we moved across the country. Over the years, and a physical distance, my relationship with them became more tolerable. There were occasional problems, such as the fact that she wanted to be mentioned as a mother in the wedding invitations, or when she tried to adopt my niece after my sister-in-law's death, declaring that my brother was unable to raise his daughter. Then before the pandemic, she and my father moved to my state, something common for retirees. She then started posting photos of my ultrasounds and baby clothes, with captions like, "Looking forward to my baby's arrival," or "At last entering the journey of motherhood." I scolded her and demanded that she delete the posts, and that's when the physical harassment began. As we live at the same condominium, she started to come up to my house several times a day to check me, fight with me about what I ate, and set up a complete nursery in her house, telling me that the baby would need to spend the first few days with someone more experienced to take care of him. When we found out it was a girl, she immediately started saying that finally her Christina would come, and our dream would finally come true. I immediately denied that this would be my daughter's name, and made it clear that she would not be a mother figure to my baby. My stepmother then reminded me that a lot can happen during childbirth, and that it was better that my significant other and I understood that she and my father were prepared for any eventuality, and that I couldn't be cruel and deny her the closest thing she'd ever have to a daughter, since I didn't accept being her daughter. After that and other comments and actions, my husband and I decided to take some action in case she tried something. And now, 3 months after my baby was born, my father refuses to visit his granddaughter, even though we live close together, as I don't allow his wife to play mother and daughter with my baby. I understand that she has frustrated maternal instincts, but my daughter is not her replacement baby. So Reddit, am I wrong? Now for the top comments before reading the little update. Not today, Hall. Trust your parental instincts. You're not obligated to humor her. Your father is capable of making his own decisions. Thanks. Her attitude makes me very uncomfortable, and my husband is also worried. My dad says she's just very motherly, and that it's only natural for her to want to become close to the children and the family since she was never able to be a mother. I adore him, but he accuses me of being insensitive and denying my daughter the love of an extra mother. Not today, Hall. Best advice, move away from her. She doesn't care about you. It is clear from the interactions that she has manipulative ways of trying to undermine your choice. She was always like that. I think she resents the fact that my 2 brothers and I never accepted her as our new and only mother, that we preferred to live with our birth mother away from her and my father. She tried to get a surrogate through an agency, but apparently they realized she wasn't very mentally stable. Major not day Hall. Honestly, if possible, I'd consider moving. Hi. Unfortunately, moving is not an attractive option. My husband and I live in a great house, in a gated community, and with an amazing structure for families. Our house is our own, and we buy it without sinking into debt. The most we could do was change the locks, install a fence, and new cameras to prevent surprise visits. My father lives in another house in the same community, and unfortunately he doesn't want to leave here, as it's full of benefits for retirees. And now for the update. My husband and I hardly slept that night, partly because we've been reading your answers, and partly because a 3-month-old baby sleeps little and breastfeeds as much as possible. Thanks to you, I was able to see that my father will never protect his children, especially if it means putting limits on my stepmother. But the big point, the straw that broke the camel's back, was what happened this morning. As I work from home, and my husband owns his own company, we decided to streamline the moving process. What was our surprise to find my stepmother in tears at our gate, properly locked, screaming and begging for my forgiveness, and claiming that all she wanted was love, happiness, and that I have no right to deny anything so small to her. For me, it was like coming out of shock. After threatening to call the police, my father finally came and took his wife home. Immediately, I called my stepfather and he and my mother came to pick us up. I was glad he came as he is a very intimidating man, as well as being a retired police officer. We've packed a few essentials and the three of us will be staying at my mom's house for now. She lives in an apartment with plenty of space and 3 levels of security to allow access. We are in contact with our attorney who will refer to us to someone who specializes in family status, and we will seek to get a restraining order under our old address. P.S. To someone who asked me in private, my sister-in-law's death was caused, according to the police report, by an alleged mechanical failure in her car. At the time, with the whole situation going on with my brother and niece, I never really went into the matter. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for admitting that my parents and niece are the reason I left? I, 29 male, have a niece, 19 female, and as the title says, she and my parents are a massive reason why I moved away. When she was a little kid, she was unbelievably disrespectful and just downright mean. She would literally scream, yell, and if no one was around, she would cuss at me. And occasionally, she would do random crap that she would have never done if my mother, her grandmother, or her parents were around. For example, she would spit, throw stuff, purposely spill stuff. And if I ever stopped her or told her to stop, she would run to grandma and tell her I was being mean, and I would get in trouble. And if I didn't stop her, I would still get in trouble. Then a month before my 18th birthday, I told my parents that I wanted to visit New York City, and they said that was fine. We live in South Carolina if that matters, and my niece's birthday was 2 days before mine. 3 days before my birthday, and 2 before we were supposed to leave, I already got my bags packed, and they saved up, booked the tickets, and were ready to go. The next day, my parents informed me that we couldn't go, because they had planned a huge surprise party for my niece, but they miscalculated or something, and it was a lot more expensive than they thought. If I remember correctly, it was about $6,000, so they used the money that they saved for the trip on the party. When I asked them why they couldn't just cancel it instead, they got mad and my dad said I was being an entitled brat, and my mom said I was being selfish for not wanting my niece to enjoy her special day. Well, they didn't cancel it, but instead moved it back by 2 days due to some kind of schedule mix-up. I was honestly tired with their bull, so I moved to New York and went to college there, and that's where I stayed. And now I'm an attorney with 2 amazing sons. About 2 weeks ago, I got a phone call from an uncle about a family reunion. It was a couple of days ago. I thought it would be nice for my sons to meet some of their family members, as if I recall correctly, the only people they know are the people who moved up to New York, which is a couple of my cousins and my younger brother. So we went, and when I saw my niece, she acted the same as she did before. Later in the evening, my aunt asked why I moved to New York. My mother answered for me, saying that it was so I could go to college. I found it unbelievably amusing that she thought after all these years that was the reason, so I started laughing uncontrollably. My mother asked why I was laughing, so I told her that NYU wasn't one of the reasons why I left, and it was because they were crappy parents who loved and cared about their crappy granddaughter more than their son. And my niece was, and still, is the perfect combination between a crotch goblin, a brat, and a turd stain. My mother called me an ungrateful, disrespectful brat, and my brother and sister-in-law were pissed. I was a little pissed myself, so I just left. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. And great timing before niece invited herself to visit New York City now that she's an adult. Right. OP, you did the right thing by going away, and now you've had a confirmation that you should stay away. Not the a-hole. The only issue here is the delay. Couldn't you have told them sooner what you thought about their parenting? That putting your niece first and their son second was a failure in itself. Glad you got your life together. I brought it up in the past many times. My father would just shrug it off, and my mother would always say that I was acting/talking silly. When I confront my mom about horrible toxic stuff, not labeling it like that but clearly spelling it out what she did to her, she also likes to say I'm not making any sense or being ridiculous. It means you're freaking right, but they don't understand why you won't just roll over and take it like you're supposed to. Everyone sucks here, but only because of the way you phrased it. If you'd have said something like, I actually left because I couldn't put up with my niece's behavior, and everyone else happily enabling that behavior at the expense of my happiness and well-being, then it would have been a clear-cut not a-hole. But the phrasing you used there wasn't necessary in my humble opinion. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister the truth? I, 25 female, took my sister, 16, to coffee on Friday to catch up and spend time together. All was well until she began telling me how much she hated spending time with me as a kid. She exclaimed how all that I cooked for her was Kraft dinner, boxed mac and cheese, every day, and that she hates it now. She added about how I was so bossy, never played with her, etc. The initial remark was whatever, but the constant poking fun at me really got to me, and I corrected her. I told her that I was 9 years old when she was born, and I had to take care of her because my mom didn't come home every night. I told her that I was 10 years old trying to figure out how to change diapers from reading the Huggies box. How I was cooking her Kraft dinner every day because I was 11 and she was hungry. My mom had a really bad addiction problem, and we were taken away when I was 14 and my sister was 5, and both given to our dads. We have different ones. They never told her the details, so it was only her memory that was so hard for me. I had been raising her for 5 years, and I felt like she was my own. I told her that I'm sorry I did a poor job raising her, and no, it wasn't fun or enjoyable, but I was just a kid too. Part of me didn't want to shatter whatever childlike memory she had about our lives together, but it was too much to carry, and to also be made fun of for it. She was super nice about it, and honestly, we bonded a lot since then and actually talk again. Then I found out that her stepmother had been lying to her about contacting me to see her, and telling her I don't reply. I've never been contacted to see my sister. She said she was confused by her memories, but it made more sense now and that she loved me. 2 days later, our mom, who is 5 years sober now, called me screaming about how I got my sister taken from me because I was jealous that she got more attention and I was trying to ruin my mother's life. I told her that I'm not the one called CPS. My sister's father was, and she just kept screaming and saying that I had no right to dump that on your sister. She has custody of my sister again just this year. Am I the a-hole for outing how terrible our childhood was? I would have loved for my sister to not be hurt or affected by it, but I couldn't bear the blame I was getting. Was it selfish? I thought she'd be old enough to hear the gist of it. Now for the comments. There's an old saying that when you sober up a drunken jerk, the result is a sober jerk. If you need someone and want to say you weren't wrong, I'll be that person. Your mother made you responsible for her parenting duties when you were a child, and now she's trying to scapegoat you for her mistakes. That won't wash. Not a hole. Good on you for being there for your sister as best you could when you were younger, and for mending bridges with her now. Yeah, it is really difficult having crappy parents and having to deal with their BS and drama as a child. Not a hole. Your sister deserves to know the truth about her childhood because no doubt she has been affected by it, even if she doesn't remember it. I'm the little sister in your scenario, and it took a long time for me to process through therapy, and I'm still working on it 15 years later. But I couldn't have done that if I didn't understand what happened. You did the right thing. Your mom is just taking her guilt out on you. I'd like to amend this. The mom is taking out her shame on Opie. Guilt suggests she feels remorse. Shame is when she feels bad because of others' perception of her, rather than her perception of herself. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for not taking my husband to my brother-in-law's funeral after I went against my sister's wishes? My sister's husband was sick for over 6 months. In the past couple of months, he got worse. They have 2 kids, nephew 4 and niece 6. So I agreed to take the kids in to look after them and help my sister focus on her husband. A week ago, I got a call at 6:50 from my sister crying, telling me her husband just passed away. It was so devastating. I was still in bed when I got the news. I checked on the kids and they were asleep. I had to go see my sister and be with her, so I asked my husband to keep an eye on the kids and warned him not to tell them about their father's passing till their mom gets there and tell them herself in her own way, since she made me promise to wait until she tells them herself. He nodded, but said telling them the sooner the better. I told him it was none of his business, and he needed to respect their mother's wish. He said I could go, and he'd watch the kids. An hour later, my phone rang while I was with my sister, and it was my husband telling me to get home ASAP because the kids had a breakdown after he told them their father passed. I was dumbfounded and so mad and helpless. I asked why he told them, but I couldn't hear his reply because the kids were crying loudly in the background. Their mother heard and figured they found out, and she told me to drive her to see them. I apologized for what my husband did, but she didn't respond. We got home and it was a mess. My heart sank seeing the kids crying for their dad like that. Their mom took them inside a room and shut the door. I lost it on my husband. And he said he didn't want to say anything, even made them breakfast. But when he heard kids talk about what they were going to do when they see their dad soon, he felt the urge to tell them. I yelled at him for going against my sister's wishes. He apologized to my sister, but she said she doesn't want to see him because the kids stopped talking from their trauma. He wanted to go to the funeral, but I told him my sister doesn't want to see him and I'm respecting her wish. He got upset, saying I excluded him from family event, which was unfair and flat-out petty. He said he couldn't help it, so I shouldn't hold him accountable because it just happened. But I felt ashamed and a major letdown for my sister because she stated her wishes and he didn't respect them. Not day-all at all. Do not take the responsibility for your spouse's acts onto yourself. You clearly expressed your sister's wishes. He made the choice to go directly against them. Your sister had every right to not want contact at all with him after that. Who knows how the kids would have responded or been more traumatized seeing him again. You're not petty. You are trying to love and respect and support your sister in her time of grief. Yes, I agree, but he's been giving me grief about how harsh I was towards him. That I should have let him attend a funeral with me, completely ignoring the fact he went against my sister's wishes, and she rightfully wants some space from him. It's not about you. None of this is about you. On repeat until he gets it. What kind of narcissistic prick thinks he should be the one to break this kind of news to children, when their mother is effectively on her way over to do that very thing? Not day-all. Now your husband wants to show up and cause drama with a widow at a funeral? Is he crazy? You need to take a very hard line with this guy. And it's not a family event. It's a funeral and he's an A. Update. Husband refuses to create boundaries with friend who has feelings for him. Original story. My husband has a female best friend. They've known each other since childhood. It didn't really bother me because I don't think of myself as a jealous person. And I mean, if they were into each other, why not date in the years before me? They text, call, and go out together a lot. I never had a problem with it because I haven't been starved of attention or anything. But she and her long-term boyfriend broke up. He went to comfort her and she admitted she always had feelings for him. I'm glad he told me, and I don't want to punish him for that. But they're with each other even more now than before. He says it's because she has more spare time since her breakup. He doesn't try to hide the fact he's texting or calling or going out to see her, so I'm not concerned about an affair. But why can't he create boundaries? Edit. When I asked him to, he told me they've been friends longer than he knew me, which is true. He says their friendship will not change just because she slipped up while heartbroken. I trust him, but I'm very uncomfortable with this. I tell friends or family, but I get a big I told you so. Everybody told me it was sketchy he had a female best friend, but I just didn't see it. What do I do? Now for the top advice before reading the update. Have you asked him to create boundaries? He may still believe that you were just as unbothered as you were before this information came to light. He may not realize that you are now slightly more uncomfortable than you were. Oh my god, I can't believe I left that from the post. Yes, I did ask him to. His response I said in the post, he told me they've been friends longer than he knew me, which is true. He says their friendship will not change just because she slipped up while heartbroken. I trust him, but I'm very uncomfortable with this. So basically, his stance is that he just doesn't want to change anything, is going to pretend like this never happened, but I think some boundaries are necessary. She slipped up? It sounds to me like she settled because she missed her chance with her husband, but then got dumped and decided better late than ever. It could be that she just felt emotional and hurt and alone, and because of that started thinking, this guy's always been nice and here for me, and I keep picking a-holes instead. But he is married. Her confused feelings, reading this in the most benevolent way possible, do not change that fact. What he should be doing is, of course, expressing empathy to her. She's probably hurting pretty bad right now. And who wants to crap on their best friend with her already down? But he should also be saying something like, "Hey friend, I know you're hurting and I don't want to make things worse. But given what you told me about your feelings, it's not a good idea for us to talk so much or spend so much time together. I'm married. I can't return your feelings, and while I'm always there for you as a friend, we need some space for the time being. It's not going to be good for you to have me around all the time, and my wife comes first. Let's let things settle a little, and we can revisit in a few months. Or at the very least, just tell her he'll call once a day, or every other day, check in on how she's doing. But there can't be the constant conversations and visits anymore. If he refuses to do that, he can go be with her, and then have an emotional affair on her when the next damsel in distress shows up. Since he doesn't want to create boundaries, then you need to create some of your own. Explain to him that you aren't comfortable with this close friendship with her anymore, primarily because she admitted her feelings for him. Tell him that you were fine with her friendship before she spilled beans about her romantic interest in him. Tell him that their continued close friendship makes you insecure. It's important not to admit that, and that you think it's borderline an emotional affair. Tell him that this is a firm boundary for you, and you're not going to stay in a relationship with him if he disrespects your marriage like this. He's obviously going to balk about this boundary, but if it's important to you, then you need to stand firm. He has a choice to make. And now for the update. After I made that post, we had another talk where I asked him to make specific boundaries with her. And again, "You're jealous. She's just a friend." So I tried what a comment said. I told him those don't have to be your boundaries with her, but those are mine for you. I managed to get him down to no late night calls. Weekends are only for us, etc. He was dragging his feet, but he obliged, and he was honestly still a bit absent. Then a week later, his tone completely changed. He told me he realized how much he was hurting me, and the whole week was just going to be about the two of us. It didn't just last the week. He's become super attentive since then. Us going out together, flirting like we're in our honeymoon, having the most passionate intimacy you could imagine. I was so caught up in the new him that I forgot about the problem. I'd forgotten I even made this post. Well, yesterday he decided to confess to me that the sudden change of heart was because he had slept with her. Not just that, but unprotected too. We've also been having unprotected acts. I'm such a freaking idiot. At least he's honest. Why did he tell me now, you ask? Because I deserve to know. All this goddamn time later? Thanks, a-hole. I told him he can have her. I don't care anymore. He told me he doesn't want her. Crazy how that works. Supposedly we're going to do marriage counseling. Anybody want to laugh at me for being such an idiot? Edit. Although it doesn't really make a difference, according to his story, it only happened once. I don't think I made it clear enough in a post. It happened right before he completely changed his attitude. He said hooking up with her was a wake-up call for him. Why are you even going to bother to maintain a marriage with this turd man? I don't know you, but you're better than this relationship. I don't even know anymore. I don't think I'm so much better than him at the end of the day, because I'm the dumbass who married him and trusted him. Even with me being annoyed about his female friend, we were still trying to conceive. That's how much I convinced myself she was just a friend. And now that he slept with her, he doesn't want her anymore? A-hole. Thank you, though. I'm the dumbass who married him and trusted him. This mistake can be corrected with a lawyer. I regret that I have but one upvote to give this post. Opie, you are not a dumbass. You were trusting the man you believed would respect your boundaries and not be a prick. He failed you. Please prioritize your self-care. Go get tested. Get a consult with a divorce lawyer. Look into some therapy if you think it might be helpful. You may have access to short-term care on a fairly rapid basis via your workplace employee assistance plan, if applicable, and they might have a referral service for both lawyers and therapists. Definitely consider some very good quality ice cream, or indulgent snack food of choice, or whatever you use for a little pick-me-up. This sort of news would have me face first in a carton of Haagen-Dazs up to my earlobes, so do something to be kind to yourself, is my point. Then dust yourself off and remember that you are worth 1,000 of him, and keep moving forward, one step at a time. Lean on your friends and family, and please feel free to update us or vent if you'd like to. Wishing you the best. You're not an idiot for wanting to trust the one you love, and wanting to feel loved in return. He is the idiot for ruining it. I hope you find happiness you deserve. Don't even bother with him. He gaslit you to think you were jealous. Him being more attentive was him trying to make up for having an affair. And even after this affair, did he still have contact with her? Has she been blocked from everything by him? Is he still friends with her? Though for your sake, whether you do marriage counseling or not, get proof that he cheated with her. Let me go through his phone after. They didn't text at all, but I do have them talking about what happened. He did say it couldn't happen again at least. Afterwards, not as many texts besides them checking on each other. They called a lot though. There were a lot of personal conversations between the two of them that he should have been telling me. Him talking about his dreams, issues with his family, etc. I have to wonder if there's something wrong with me. I've always told him he can tell me anything, that I'd always be there at any time if he ever needed anything. But no. He told me after he felt more comfortable with her because I seemed so strong, so he didn't want to appear weak to me. She was heartbroken from her breakup and had a broken bird appeal. I could have been strong for him, but apparently he didn't want that. He's not still friends with her, but he hasn't blocked her in anything. If we're staying together, I should tell him to though. I haven't been thinking productively, just he's a bastard on loop. If I saw him again, I think I would just black out. I'm so upset still. Next story. Girlfriend's ex is spending the night and I feel betrayed. To give context, my 23 male, girlfriend 21 female, and I have been dating for a few months. Long distance for the short time being. I'll be back home with her in just a few weeks. My girlfriend and her ex broke up just before we met due to them becoming long distance. Are still friends, which I'm mostly fine with. Thing is, he's visiting our hometown soon, and he wants to surprise his family. He asked my girlfriend if he could spend the night at her house because he'll be getting home late and doesn't have a key. She, without consulting me or even thinking about how I would feel about it, said yes and told me after the fact. I got extremely upset and said this was a complete break in boundaries. She said it was well within her boundaries. We've been arguing about it for a couple weeks now on and off. He's getting in town tomorrow and she's done absolutely nothing to fix it. She won't even tell him that she's dating me on the basis that it's none of his business. I feel like everything we've built was completely messed up just by this one thing. I'm at loss as to what to do. Now for the top advice. She shows you and your boundaries zero respect. Dump her. Dump her like yesterday's trash. Imagine if hotels existed. You are so right. And all of this sounds shady too. The fact that she does not want her ex to know that she's dating Opie is a massive red flag. Dump her. Even if she's completely over the ex and nothing will happen, she blatantly disrespected your relationship and your boundaries. You deserve better. This isn't just the right answer. It's the only healthy answer. The boundary crossing is what's important here, because no matter what it is down the road, she'll cross it. Lol, why are you even arguing about this? The fact that you're even entertaining this shows some insufficient level of self-respect. Sounds like me when I was his age. And I thought I had to fight for every girl I was dating, even if they did brain-dead stupid bullcrap like this. Then I grew up and realized I could just walk away from a relationship if it's going this way. Take the advice, OP. You can end the relationship. You aren't contractually obligated to put yourself through hell for some girl. Edit. I genuinely appreciate everyone who commented and gave me their support. It has been eye-opening, as it's extremely easy to be blinded by love and / infatuation. I've decided it's definitely time to cut it off. No changes were made, so I won't be tolerating someone who doesn't respect my boundaries. Thank you all so much. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for denying girlfriend's friend 28 male to live with us? I 27 male work as a police officer. It's a wonderful job, but can be stressful at times. I recently bought a nice apartment that's 3 bedrooms and 2.5 baths. A girlfriend 26 female of 3 years moved in with me and it's been great. She does split the rent and the cooking / cleaning. My nephew frequently stays with us as the apartment is closer to a school. My girlfriend is very close to one friend, 28 male. He does not like me at all. I've tried to be nice to him, but stopped when he told my girlfriend at a dinner party she could do a lot better than me. She laughed it off and told him to knock it off. Some of her friends think he has a crush on her, but she's made it clear she only likes him as a friend. On to the issue. The same friend recently got evicted from his apartment because he was having trouble paying the rent on time, and he has been living with friends and family since. I got home from a long shift, and my girlfriend was showing the apartment around to her friend group. When the friends left, she wanted to speak to me. We sat down, and she asked if it would be okay if her friend could move into the third bedroom. I thought about it, and told her no. She then proceeded to tell me that she already told him it was okay. That started a huge argument between the two of us, and she left to stay with her parents. My stand on it is that her friend does not like me, is not offering to pay any rent, and I don't want to make my nephew uncomfortable when he stays with us. Am I the a-hole for denying my girlfriend's friend to live with us? Not the a-hole, but your girlfriend is. She is seriously inviting someone who clearly dislikes you and disrespected you with that comment at the dinner party to live rent-free in an apartment you own without even speaking to you? Yikes. There are loads of red flags here, but what bothers me most is her inviting him to live with you without your knowledge, and then leaving you after an argument that should have been a mature discussion between you both about finding a freeloader, roommate, for the third bedroom. At best, she likes the attention this friend gives her. At worst, well, you already know. Not they all, Opie, and don't let this guy move in when he already doesn't respect you. If someone says you could do so much better, they always mean themselves. It is so disrespectful of girlfriend to offer this guy the room. You can't tell me as if she doesn't know that he wants her. Maybe they were FWB all this time. If someone says you could do so much better, they always mean themselves. Not always. I say this to my mother about her verbally and emotionally horrible boyfriend, and I definitely don't mean me. Not a-hole. Red flag. Moving in anyone is a huge thing, let alone a hostile dude who is romantically interested in her. And who is she to tell him okay? Not her place. Let's not forget that when she didn't get her way, she ran home to mommy daddy. This is probably going to be her MO. Not a-hole. Your girlfriend was wrong to 1. Not consider how uncomfortable it would be for you to live with someone you don't get along with. 2. Not ask you first. And 3. Not give any deference to the fact that you own the apartment and she just rents. If he moved in, it would only end badly. Better to have the argument now. Finally, laughing out loud at a homeless guy telling your girlfriend she can do better than you. Last story is titled, Family Suddenly Against Me, 27 Male, Not Wanting Anything to Do with My Ex and Baby After Finding Out I'm Not the Father. All of it came out a while back. My now ex-girlfriend had a baby girl 3 months ago, and recently I learned I'm not the biological father, and kicked my ex out of my place. Told her I never want to see her again. We had a few issues recently, and today, I'm told by my parents and sisters that they don't agree with my not wanting anything to do with the baby, because she's still my daughter. They were fully supportive of me since this all came out, and suddenly because my ex is online over another issue we had, and now how I'm abandoning a baby girl I still bonded with, they feel that they agree with her. Honestly, I feel so betrayed by this. Like I said, literally a few weeks ago, they were fully supportive of me. Now they want to make me play daddy to a baby that isn't mine with all the pain I'm still experiencing. What do I even do about that? Because now it seems like they have a pretty strong opinion about it. If you're not the biological father, you quite literally have zero responsibility. Why would anyone expect you to take care of her or her child when you found out she cheated on you anyways? They should be ranting on the real father instead of you. Why would anyone expect you to take care of her or her child when you found out she cheated on you anyways? Because the ex is stirring stuff up online. If you're an adult, do what's right for you. Your parents and sisters have no say in this. They're most likely projecting their disappointment of having a baby in the family onto you. Stay the course and don't let them make you second guess your choice. Exactly. They don't care about Opie. They care about how they might be losing a grandchild, so they're trying to force Opie to be okay with getting cheated on. Please, the baby is 3 months old. She hasn't bonded with you in any meaningful way. If you stick around and play dad any longer, you would be the a-hole. You did the right thing. Get as far as possible away from this woman. She tried to trick you. Shame on her. Don't go back and forth. I don't care how much you miss your ex. She needs to start fresh with honesty with someone else. And you do too. You'll always harbor resentment, and this will spill into your relationship with the child. I think my husband's mistress thinks he is richer than he actually is. My best friend thinks I'm a douche because I'm keeping silent. Plus update. Original post. Husband in quotes because we are not married legally. He's 39, me 39, mistress 29, and best friend 39. We have been together for 14 years, living together for 11. He came and told me that he was in love about 3 weeks ago. I was surprised at the lack of care I had to give at receiving such information. I did love him, but maybe my love has always been conditional, and its survival depends on it being reciprocated, because it literally vanished the second he confessed to me that he was in love with another woman. He didn't want a separation, but to maybe open the relationship, or let his feelings for her subside. But I said it was over. It was like I never had feelings for him ever. He was taken aback by my indifference, which I thought, the audacity. Did he want me to be hurt and suffer? I told him that he should be relieved that he didn't cause pain. Instead, he has been sulking since. Last Friday I got home and Mistress was there, sitting in my kitchen sipping my tea. I felt nauseous because, seriously? I told him that this wasn't civil at all, and to never be in my home again or I would call the cops. I went to my room and I heard her yelling at him for not standing up for her. Then I heard her say something very curious. Why haven't you kicked her out yet? He was trying to tell her to lower her voice, whispering, "Later, we can discuss this later." She left and he came to me apologizing. He said, "We didn't have sex here if this is what you are scared of. She just dropped by because I was working from home today." I told him that he had until the end of March to move out and to find somewhere to be during the weekends. This morning I changed all the locks. From now on, he isn't allowed in my place during my working hours. So if he starts later or finishes earlier, he needs to wait for me to come home and let him in. But his mistress word stuck with me, so during the weekend I have been stalking her social media. I think she thinks that he is rich, or at least that he owns my apartment. I think she also thinks that my parents' summer house and boat are his. Unfortunately, the loser has taken her there, probably bragging about his wealth, because her hashtags were all about the good life. I was telling my best friend all of this, but she was more agitated than indignant on my behalf. She told me that he was a scum, not telling his mistress the truth. I agreed. I know, right? But then she said I was no better not explaining to her his situation either. I was dumbfounded, but she was serious. I told her that it wasn't my job to bring back Mistress to Earth, and my best friend got very angry and demanded that I gave her Mistress's username so that she could warn her. "No," I said, and she called me a bigger douche than he is then. I don't know what's going on with these people. Have they gone mad, or have I? When did our moral compass go askew like this? Can someone tell me that I am not insane? Now for the top advice before reading the update. Nope, not wrong. Get rid of him and wash your hands. Your bestie sounds delusional. Phew, because I thought something was wrong with me when she got upset. OP, she just demanded that your ex kick you out of your home so that she can move in. Do you really think someone like that deserves the kindness of a heads up? Not to mention she has been drinking your ex's Kool-Aid for a while now, and wouldn't believe anything you say anyway, so why waste your time? As for your friend, they are either a current/former mistress, a gold digger, living in the land of sunshine, rainbows, and unicorns, or were never really a friend to you in the first place. When my ex-husband and I had finally decided to divorce, he came to me to ask if I could clear out of the apartment for the weekend so he could have a friend over. I snapped like a tree branch after an ice storm. I said to him, "You want me to clear out of the apartment that I alone pay the rent and bills for so you can have your girlfriend over? You've got balls, I'll give you that." And no, it's not freaking happening. It was the first time he'd seen me genuinely angry and the only time I ever saw him cowed by anything or anyone. Now I regret not having stood up for myself sooner. But what's done is done. OP, kick his butt out of your life. Let him fend for himself, and I suspect he's got a very rude awakening in store. Wow, it is so satisfying to read her response to that. Good for you for standing up. Absolutely. That moment of realization when you know you've had enough and you stand your ground is priceless. It's like suddenly all the nonsense comes into focus, and you're not going to take it anymore. The shock on their faces when they realize the rules have changed is something else. It's good you found your breaking point and put down your foot. Too many stories where that doesn't happen soon enough. Cheers to newfound freedom and self-respect. Lol, you're not responsible for his lies. Kick him out and leave it. He has until the end of March. You also need better friends. What the heck is wrong with you not giving the mistress a heads up? To me, this is a clear case of a full-arounded find out. I have a feeling friend has been in mistress's shoes. Lol. Exactly what I was going to say. I'd keep her at an arm's distance. She's too understanding of a homewrecker. Some homewreckers don't know what they are getting themselves into. Don't know the guy is in a relationship or have been fed lies about the nature of the relationship. But the friend is concerned that the woman is getting into a relationship for money with someone who doesn't have any? Those priorities are pretty suspect. Now for the update. I did it. I had a showdown with my former best friend via text, and I confronted her about her non-existent support when I went to her with my woes. I told her that she concentrated on the wrong issue. She should have been my shoulder to cry on. She should have shown up with wine, ice cream, and a shovel. But instead, she called me a bigger douche than my husband. She tried to gaslight me, and I realized that she's always been a good gaslighter, so I interrupted her before she made me out to be the villain. I asked her bluntly, was your husband married when you started sleeping together? You told us that he was married before. We all knew that, but we were all under the impression that he was married and divorced before you two met. But was he still married? Is that why you related to the mistress and felt sympathy for her? Because you were her? She didn't answer me until next day to call me a bitter and jealous bitch. Wow. This was the last one-on-one interaction with her I have decided. She's been my friend since preschool, but now we need to go our separate ways. Not only to save us from future hurt, but also to save our memories together from hurt. I talked to my husband too, and asked him to not make the separation difficult and bitter that it ruins all the happiness we felt being together, because we cannot think back on 1/3 of our lives with resentment. I asked him to take my dad's offer. He offered to help him find a lease on an apartment and pay half a year's rent if he moved out without giving me problems. When I got home, he and his clothes were gone. He left an apology letter saying that he will always love me and never meant to hurt me. So I have finally been able to cry my eyes out, and it felt so good. I've been crying since I got home. I lost 2 of my closest people, but this is what happens when we hit hardships. We see people's true faces. This is my update. I don't know if anything major will happen to make more updates. It is time for me to move on. Wow, OB, good for you. Your friend is definitely not worth your time, and your soon-to-be ex should be thanking his lucky stars that you are so kind. You've said it quite succinctly. OB is actually kind-hearted to help the cheater out. Much better reaction than I would have had. And I'm happy that she called out her ex-friend's BS. Projecting much, eh? Just like the comments under her previous post said. She was truly something else, that one. OP, good to cry it out. But hopefully there are better things around a corner for you. Good luck. It is not out of kind-heartedness. I can't just kick the man out without a fight or a bribe. If I had started eviction proceedings, I would need at least 6 months to do so, and I didn't want him in my life for this long. So I'm bribing him. Housing is very scarce, and primary lease is almost impossible. My dad has connections with landlords, so he agreed to move out. He is living with his parents now until he gets his contract. I'm happy it didn't get more complicated. This was what my lawyer advised me to do, because taking the eviction route would have made it drag for months. I feel for Opie. How gutting to find out 2 people so close to you are such dirtbags. I hope we get an update where the mistress finds out. Amen. Reminds me of a post I saw yesterday. Girl's friend had phones with a married man and didn't see the problem with it. There are 2 types of affair partners, those that know and those that don't. The latter is whatever, but the former are hell to a man. He left an apology letter saying that he will always love me and never meant to hurt me. Sure was acting like a man who didn't want to hurt her. It looks a lot like he just wanted her to notice him, and went about it with the logic of a 5-year-old. Instead of having a mature conversation and talking about how he felt, he figured having an affair should work. The whole thing is written with such a lack of interest, and the offhand comment about her having her own room, that it sounds like the marriage was dead for a long time. The ex just made it official by being a douche. It all sounds to me like she's not responsible for how much of a prick the ex was, but had a hand in getting to that place. I really don't think she deserved that treatment, but I feel like there is more to the story. The BFF is just bizarre though. It's like she was having an argument about something completely different, while the OP was suffering. Last story. I left my wife and it took her over a week to notice. I, male 35, was married to my wife, female 35, for 8 years. I left her 5 years ago. We are child-free by choice. Her choice. I'd always said we had a good relationship and marriage. but looking back, I see that it was good for her. Here is my story. I've always been the nerdy type. Smart, good grades, but never popular. I am from a very well-off family. Due to my grandparents' inheritance and some smart investments my parents did, I did not have to go to college or work and still have a comfortable life. But I love what I did. I met my wife my first year in college. She was in my class and was looking for a tutor. She was a scholarship kid. We spent more and more time together, but never in the weekend. I wasn't the outgoing type, and she would still go out in the weekend. After a while, we started going on dates, and after I graduated, we got married. Looking back, she started making decisions for us as soon as we got together. My wife worked the first half of our marriage, and when her company downsized, she got laid off. She became a stay-at-home wife who was not at home that much. She had friends she took trips with, had a lot of lunches and dinners with her friends, basically spent my money on her well-off lifestyle. While I remember our love life being passionate in the beginning, it's just that, a memory. When I was 29, I was involved in a car crash. They say a drunk driver totaled my car, but I still have no memory of that day. I was in coma for 2 weeks. After waking up, I had to learn to do a lot again. After 4 months, I went back to work. When I came back home, my wife put me in the spare room. She said it has been like that a while because I was snoring. I kept my mouth shut, but I knew that this was new. The accident somehow gave me clarity of my mind. I could see that a marriage has been over for a while, but I still wanted to see if I could save it. Everything I tried failed. What sealed the deal for me was my 30th birthday. I came home and she was not home. She was having a spa day with her friends. I ordered takeout, watched a movie, and made a decision. The next morning, I went to my lawyer to start drafting divorce papers. I stopped engaging with her unless absolutely necessary. Slowly, I started selling anything that had any emotional value to me. I left all her stuff for her. I bought a new car and left it at a parking garage not so far from our home. 1 month later, all I had left were my clothes and a couple of laptops, projector, portable screen. Everything I needed to work from the road. I did not quit my job. I arranged for it to be completely remote. 2 months after my birthday, I stayed while my wife was at just another lunch with her girls. I took the new car, packed everything I needed in it, left the divorce papers and a letter on my bed in the spare room, and closed the door to my house for the last time, wondering how long it would take for her to notice. I decided to drive across the country and visit every place I wanted to go but couldn't because my wife didn't want to. We had a prenup, so she had no rights to ask anything. In a letter, I explained. I told her I was leaving, and I would leave her the house and a car and would pay a sum every month for exactly a year. After that, she was on her own. In my own stupidity, I forgot to mention why I was leaving, but this would work out in my favor. 10 days after I left, I got a text from my wife asking me where I was and if this was a joke. She called me, but I didn't pick up. I never pick up the phone while driving. I had an automated text sent that said, "I'm driving and will call back later." She sends me text after text after text. That night, I stopped in a motel and decided to read a text before calling her back. First, she was asking if this was a joke, then asking when I will come back, then begging me to come back, not knowing why I left. And then she said something. She was sorry and it didn't mean anything and that she will cut him off. She was having an affair. Something I never suspected. I called her cell phone and she was at her parents'. I learned this tactic from TV. She started yelling at me and I hung up. I waited 1 minute and called back. She started yelling again and I hung up again. I waited 2 minutes and called back again. This time, she wasn't yelling and I started talking. I told her that she was going to let me talk first, and after I said what I needed to say, and then she could ask questions. I told her why I left. We were married but living like roommates. Not even roommates, because they at least acknowledge each other. I don't remember the last time we had a conversation, the last time we did something together. I didn't remember the last time we've been intimate, but I know it was before the accident. I told her that for a month before leaving, I stopped talking and sold everything I had in the house, and she didn't even notice. That it took her 10 days after I left before she noticed I was gone. If she had called me on the day I left, I would have turned around immediately. I ended with, "Thank you for admitting to the affair. I really didn't know about that." She tried to apologize, and when she asked me to come back, I asked her why. If she could explain to me why I would consider it. What was in it for me? What would change? She couldn't answer, so I said goodbye and told her my lawyer knows how to contact me. Then I blocked her. The next day, I bought a new phone with a new number and left the old one in the motel. 2 weeks later, I got an email from my lawyer that the divorce papers were signed. I was free. I kept my word. My lawyer already had all documents signed by me that would transfer ownership of the house and the cars to her. The bank automatically deposits a fixed amount to our shared account every month for a year. Where we are now. For the past 5 years, I have been driving across the country, working remotely. I finally had a reason to start social media. I posted online where I've been and where I'm going. I stay in a place for a couple of weeks and drive to the next. My ex-wife started following me on Instagram a year after I left, and out of curiosity, I looked at her public posts. I'm not planning on following her back. She posted pictures with her boyfriend soon after I left. To her credit, she did not badmouth me, at least not on Instagram. 2 months after I left, they apparently broke up. That was the last time I really had an update of her. I also have a life now. Once I put myself out there, it turned out to be easier to have casual hookups. No committed relationship. Now, after years, I'm going back to my hometown. There is a reunion I want to attend. I'm staying for a month, maybe 2, and then I'm going to Canada. I have no plans of looking up my ex, but I will also not actively avoid her. If I see her, I'll see her. If I don't, I don't. Crazy story. This is a happy way for getting back on your own legs. Don't even meet her. She's selfish and horrible. Don't waste your time with her. She's a gold digger. Good story. You realized something was wrong and decided to leave your wife. That was smart. But I think that before the accident, she had her adventures. After the accident, when she decided to have you move into the guest room, she didn't want to be unfaithful to her lover with you. Why did you leave her your house? As someone that recently got out of an abusive marriage, you have no idea how much more mental anguish and loss of physical time and energy I would have had to endure if I tried fighting for anything extra for my ex-wife. What I would have to go through to get the apartment and the car was not worth the stress and anxiety and fear of her retaliating. Simply walking away and starting over from nothing was so much better for me. And I'm sure OP felt the same, though he at least had more backing to start off with than I did.